Hey guys, Jason here, bringing you a slightly different DM discussion video today. On the channel, we get a lot of people asking about whether Duel Masters Plays is going to get a global release. As flattering as it is, I don't know why we are being asked because we aren't affiliated with Tommy, Duel Masters, Wizards of the Coast, or any other official bodies. You kidding me? I wish. But because of how persistently it's been asked, I thought I would address the question in a discussion type video. Naturally, I need to preface this is all just my opinion, so don't take this video too seriously. Now my short answer to is DMP getting an international release is no, but if I ended the discussion there, we wouldn't have a video, so let's get into it. The main reason I don't think DMP, or Duel Masters in any form for that matter, will receive a wide-scale launch outside of Japan is because it doesn't make much sense from a business perspective, at least not right now. We know Duel Masters has had a strong presence in Japan for many years, so to me, launching the app was really as simple as, popular game, let's give it an app, because it allows for the exploration of new business strategies. On the flip side, DM had already tried and failed to take off outside Japan, twice. The first with the initial launch in the mid-2000s, and then again with Kaijudo in the early 2010s. The reality is, it's very difficult to break into markets, especially those of an oligopolistic nature. By and large, Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Rule the TCG industry, so Duel Masters will once again face the same set of problems that contributed to its demise early on. In the digital space, Hearthstone stands as the undisputed champion, and for all its faults, has managed to assemble a formidable player base by catering to casual and competitive players alike. Hearthstone's entrenchment in esports and use of the mana system only make things harder for DMP. Due to the emphasis on familiar cards in the earlier sets, some hopefuls may have jumped to the conclusion that the developers were gearing towards another Duel Masters revival. Sadly, I am less optimistic about this proposition since they've already been there and done that. In response to what I've just said, some people might think, well, that may be true, but they don't necessarily have to be a market leader to be profitable. It could still be worth it if there are enough people who want to play. This is a sentiment I agree with, but as passionate as we are as a community, I can't help but feel the numbers just aren't there. I'm no industry professional, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say launching DMP globally is not an easy task. I foresee hoops to jump through on the technological side, and a lot of marketing is going to be needed for the game to reach a wider audience. In addition to this, translation is probably going to be a massive undertaking as well. Even if most languages were scrapped and the app was available in just Japanese and English, that's still a lot of translation work considering how many cards come out each expansion and how often expansions are released. These matters only form the tip of the iceberg for the effort required for a presumably minuscule percentage of the air quotes target market. In truth, most of the world moved on from Duel Masters a long time ago, and until substantial evidence surfaces to show the contrary, it just makes more business sense to keep all of DM inside Japan. Early on, I mentioned the exploration of new strategies. So what are these strategies, you might ask? Well, if I were to take a guess, I see DMP's primary objectives as 1. Grabbing legacy fans, and 2. Attracting new players, both within the Japanese market. Since DM is a live game over there, it's a solid enough strategy. If my experience with the Pokemon TCG and to a lesser extent Yu-Gi-Oh! Have taught me anything, it's that big card companies are effective practitioners of the nostalgia cash grab. For better or for worse, the two continue to find ways of making their first generation of fan favorites like Charizard, Mewtwo, and Blue Eyes relevant in spite of the ever-evolving landscapes of their games. It's a tool used to cater to competitive players, casuals, and collectors, and it works. There's a reason DMP's first promotional artwork featured Balmedius, Alcadius, and Balam. There's a reason DMP massively eroded Bombazar Dragon of Destiny instead of releasing a new card altogether. And there's a reason Shobu and Kokujo are selectable as avatars. Nostalgia sells. When it comes to capturing new players, it just so happens that people tend to be drawn towards things they don't have to pay for, at least initially. Again, referencing other games, Pokemon TCGO and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links are fairly popular apps, which I know many have used as a starting point for getting into the physical game. I don't subscribe to the school of thought that Japan was used as a pilot launch because the developers had greater plans. The more reasonable hypothesis is for DMP to either slowly but eventually catch up to the recent printings, or give rise to a new format entirely that exists alongside the Japanese main format. All things considered though, I must acknowledge we live in the age of social media where consumers are more empowered than ever. With enough public support, who's to say that the developers of DMP will never be open to a global release? We are living in an age where shows like Arrested Development, Community, and Star Wars The Clone Wars, among others I'm sure, were brought back several years after going off the air thanks to fan outcry. As the saying goes, never say never, though I urge you to manage expectations. The message I'd like to leave you with today is a reminder to everyone that we should be grateful and enjoy what we have instead of focusing on what we don't. With the internet making things more accessible than ever, and the dedicated staff constantly updating the DMP wiki, we non-Japanese at least have the tools to enjoy the game in its current form. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.